Ngizathuma bani? Who shall I send to set the Zimbabweans free from the enemy of black people, from the enemy of the black people of God in Zimbabwe? For the enemy of the black Zimbabweans is not actually ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is an errand boy. The enemy resides here in the Western Cape. He stays on the slopes of the Table Mountain, the slopes of Constantia, and on the slopes of Stellenbosch, all the way to Durbanville Hills. That is a real enemy of you, poor black Zimbabweans. ZANU-PF is just the errand boy. The devil said he's a tumabani to destroy the lives of the Zimbabweans. And ZANU-PF, Robert Mugabe, in the late 1970s, said yes. And so he was sent, which is with a very simple thing to do. To stabilize the economy of black Zimbabweans, make sure that they don't own the means of production, and crush whoever comes up against that vision. Joshua Mkabu said, no, we want to give people the land. So he was crushed. And subsequently, he was branded a leader of a rebellion, and innocent lives, thousands of innocent lives in Matabeleland lost their lives because the real enemy of Zimbabwe wanted Robert Mugabe and his 5th Brigade to send a strong message to those that are saying no to colonialism, because colonialism is actually ever changing, ever mopping its face and its shape. When we were given the so-called independence in 1980, just like here in South Africa, when they were given their poorly worded independence in 1994, when they gave them a half-baked politician in the name of whatever his name is, who became a leader of black people. Yet we know that the independence was fake. Black people were able to vote, but they still didn't own the means of production. That's why the black South Africans also have the same common enemy as the black Zimbabweans. The Stellenbosch mafia, who are interested in the mining industry. It's the mining complexes around the Gauteng area, Northwest Province, that they are interested in this country. It is the diamond industry, the gold and the platinum. The same thing in Zimbabwe as well. It is the Great Dyke that is the bone of contention. I would like to tell you that if we didn't have a Great Dyke in Zimbabwe, the country would actually be free today. But because we have got a Great Dyke and we do not have a Botswana situation, the Botswana situation is a situation whereby the diamond industry of Botswana is essentially owned by the British, and the government is just given a little piece of the pie. That's how they maintained their peace. However, in Zimbabwe, what do you call it? The ancestors of the Zimbabweans, or the spirits of Zimbabweans, the spirits that rule that country, have said no, and they've waged war against the British Empire. Therefore, because of that, the British Empire will not let go of the Zimbabweans to arise and shine and and claim their stake in the world. Therefore, what they will do is they will say, and amongst black people, they will look for the weaker amongst us, the weaker hands. I'd like to pose it to you that the weaker hands in Zimbabwe have historically been Robert Mugabe and the people that were around him, which really forms what we call ZANU-PF today. They are the weaker hands. I don't want to call them the enemy, but I want to call them the weaker hands who were not able to stand firm and be strong against the onslaught of imperialism, but gave in and therefore began sort of like a pseudo agents of imperialism. Even though ZANU-PF always say Triple C is an agent of imperialism, but I would like to put it across that actually, in actual fact, ZANU-PF is a bigger threat to liberation in Zimbabwe than Nelson Chamisa's Triple C. Do you understand? Because once you are in government and you've got all the power and you are not doing what the European countries do, which is to actually empower your own people, you yourself become the imperialist. But in this case in Zimbabwe, we see that the imperialism is really truly a British and South African sponsored. Okay, underline South Africa because and not just South Africa, just say South African white people. Those are the big enemies of Zimbabwe that nobody really talks about. But they are our number one sponsor of terrorism in Zimbabwe because because of the mining industry. And their fight is to be part of the mining industry. Mining our diamonds, our gold and stuff like that. Now, the ZANU-PF sits at a very strategic position of tilting the war towards the victory for the Zimbabweans. So ZANU-PF is sitting there in the middle, having to choose between pleasing the white imperialists or actually pleasing the rest of the Zimbabweans and building their own country. So I would like to say in this video, ZANU-PF, I would like uh, to appeal to you, the elite in Zimbabwe, to appeal to you that you should choose right. And I want to show you that if you choose the white imperialist over black Zimbabweans, I want to show you how things will end bad for you. Because here's the thing, because you have chosen imperialism to be part of the group, the elite in Zimbabwe, that crushes the Zimbabweans, because you have been ill-advised by your white advisors from outside the country to tell you that that policy you're doing is a good strategy. But what the white people didn't tell you, or Zimbabwean elites, is that when they make you crush your own country and make you rely on their own countries, because right now ZANU-PF with their billions, they're not making them in Zimbabwe, which means that they're depending on the banking system of white people. If in your own health, you have not developed a proper health system for you to get medication, you need to go to white people's countries. We have not developed education system, financial system, banking system, you know, all systems, all governance systems, legal systems, all of them are broken down. All of you rely on white people's countries. Therefore, you now become essentially their bitch. You hear me? Zimbabwe's elite. That is where you got it wrong. Because while you think that, oh, tinemari isusu, tinemari zedu, but your money is not under your bed. It's in Singapore, it's in China, it's in Europe, at the hands and at the mercy of the white people that sent you to oppress black Zimbabweans, because you are foolish enough to take their advice of not building your own country. However, had you had your own strong financial institutions, strong health system, strong education system, strong governance system, you would have been able to make your money from mining and farming and wherever you get the money from, and still be able to keep within the country and invest in the country and invest in Zimbabwean startups. When there's a Zimbabwean that comes up with a startup, you go there and buy shares in their companies and become owners. That is very zokutora, because that actually chases away even local investment and stifles growth. You are supposed to be part of the growth since you are running the government anyway. What is so difficult from just becoming part of the Zimbabwean miracle? That is what the ZANU-PF regime, the elite in Zimbabwe, need to do for them to be safe. Otherwise, if they do not do that, you must understand that white people do not love black people. They don't want to see any black person succeed at all. Even the fact that the ZANU-PF chefs have got billions around the world, the globalists do not like that. They are looking at it and saying, okay, this is how you steal a country. Listen very careful. This is how you steal a country. You go to the population, look for the weaker hands, as I have established that it is ZANU-PF, Robert Mugabe and his ZANU-PF regime. You instruct them and teach them how to steal from the rest, oppress the rest, gather all the wealth to share the wealth with white people and themselves and the blacks will bank overseas. And after some time, we're gonna say human rights abuse, sanctions, we block all your assets overseas. Now, the very same guys that are giving you sanctions are the same guys that were advising you to do that which you were doing. You got advice from these guys. So after they have done with you, and they have taken your resources, and you have taken what you believe is yours, and you're banking it in their banks, give you sanctions. So ZANU-PF, let me give you a warning. You see the sanctions that you already have, that's nothing. There's more. There's more other sinister ways of imposing sanctions on you, which means sinister ways in which global capital can actually uh, siphon your money out of your own ownership. You understand? No matter how safe you think your money is, or you've got money banked in safe havens, when they want to destroy those safe havens, when that time comes, they will do so, and you will lose all your wealth that you have been accumulating for 20 years. And when you lose that wealth doesn't come back to the Zimbabweans. No, they are going to freeze it. Have you ever seen something called frozen money? There is nothing like frozen money. It is taken. It is used. All that money that is frozen, so-called frozen monies, there's nothing frozen. It's being used. Okay. Anyway, the Americans don't care about money. When money is just a figure to them, they can just create trillions at the snap of a hand, because it's fiat currency, boss. So when they freeze it, they make sure that you don't have access to, to development or to anything else. So that's how they can cripple a country. That's how you steal a country. You just choose a few people, make them super rich. You will think that you are rich, but that money they're going to take it. All that ZANU-PF money that is externalized, trust me, I am telling you, trust me, they are going to take it. One way or the other, they will take it, and when they take it, they don't give us. They don't give it to Zimbabweans. And if they're giving it to us, it will be coming as credit. Like they'll be borrowing us money. Then we'll have to owe them money again. That's how clever the white people are. So you see now, the foolishness of ZANU-PF is actually to think that destroying your own people is a safe bet. So I'm now explaining the prophetic. I'm not just coming in and say God said this, He's gonna do this. Now I'm telling you now the reality is that is something which is not prophetic, something that you can understand, something that you can analyze and see for yourself that indeed it is what it is. Of course, we have seen with the sanctions, your assets have been frozen. Even again, we're going to elections. We're going to be involved in some election violence of some sort, and then they're going to increase the sanctions. They're going to look for what they want to call illicit funds. Remember, illicit funds is only for black people. For white people, it's not illicit funds. It's quite another name for it. Actually, they don't even talk about it. Somehow, the investigators will not find that there's also white people that are involved in siphoning Zimbabwean funds. They only find that it's ZANU-PF only, black people only. Then they're gonna say it's unfair. The world is unfair. You should have thought of being fair to the rest of the black Zimbabweans. Otherwise, God will not listen by that time. But however, God is benevolent and kind and loves you too and loves the Zimbabweans. Therefore, take kindly to process these words properly. The elite in Zimbabwe. Be very kind to process these words that I'm giving you. That the wisdom of God, therefore, is for you to build your own financial systems in Zimbabwe. Understand? You build your own ecosystem, legal systems in Zimbabwe, robust institutions in Zimbabwe that you own, that you run, and no white person can tell you what to do. It's your own country, and that way, ZANU-PF, you're going to be truly free. You're even going to be free from the Zimbabweans themselves. You will see a prospering country, and will forget about persecuting you, will forget about hating you, but will love whoever is in governance or whatever is going on up there. Zimbabweans will be happy as long as they've got jobs and they've got equal opportunities, equal access to opportunities. So ndizvone zokuti mandebere ngave mandebere ngazvigere kujoin hazvishande izvozvo. Mandebere kuti chi, they were born in Zimbabwe, they are Zimbabweans, everybody is a Zimbabwean. Everybody should be given the right to prosper. You must be investing in those Ndebeles and making money there. Not this your system of saying that we must destroy this region. These are the mindsets of people that the global the warmongers are going to destroy. Remember, ZANU-PF elite we're in a global war here. In as much as we can fight against each other as local Zimbabweans, we at some point, at some level, we need to understand that what is at stake is the virtue of the country itself. And when we are under attack, all of us are under attack. So I've got special interest in making you succeed. You, the elite in Zimbabwe, you that are responsible for my own suffering, responsible for subjugating my people. I also have interest in seeing you succeed, because your success is the success of a country. For the enemy attacks us as a country. When the enemy divides us, he divides us so that he can have an entry point, so that he will use that entry point and bring rot unto the whole nation, and begin to be able to steal, kill, and destroy, to steal our wealth, to steal our potential to grow. Because not only are they fearing that if we grow, we may be able to become masters of our own destiny, controlling our own resources that are on the ground. But not only that, when we become a middle or upper middle income earning country, we become a consuming society. As a consuming society, we begin to compete with them in the global supply of resources from different countries, around the world. Therefore, the thing with white people is that the reason why they attack not only Zimbabwe but most African countries, the 1.2 billion people in Africa, to keeping all of their countries at pariah. The reason, and it's very noisy there. I'll take that again. The reason why 1.2 billion people in Africa are being attacked by white people is because they fear that we are going to enter into the consumption society. You see, now they're talking about the lithium batteries now for electric vehicles. Is the thing. They are not intending to make electric vehicles for everybody else, for 8 billion people in the world. No, they want to make it for white people only. So when we're talking about the resources, global resources, white people look at it from the position of scarcity, and then they begin to choose the winners and the losers. And they begin to say, we need to have as few people as possible so that they can have plenty plus resources available to them. However, if we all have money, they do believe in their own mind that because of scarcity, we will have to compete for resources. So they decided that black people are not going to be part of the people that are going to be the haves. So black people are going to be the haves nots, and them the wise are going to be the haves. So and anybody else who look white, or maybe in here in Cape Town they call them white colors or Muslims or whatever. Them who think that they are white, they are the ones that have been allowed to have some financial prosperity so that they can partake in buying big houses, big ticket items like cars and stuff like that. And the black people are being paid peanuts, being given slavery jobs. And in those slavery jobs, like for example, one of the most racist and the most discriminatory and most oppressive people are the people that stay here where I stay, the Muslim society in South Africa. One of the most most racist and oppressive things I've ever seen in my whole life, even more than white people themselves. I work for them. You don't get paid. You're a waiter. You get tipped 5 rand, 10 rand. Very under tipping. Like over complaining, looking down upon you as a black Zimbabwean as if you're nothing. Yet this is our own continent. You see, they have come to attack us in our own continent because we're fools, we're stupid, we're failing to unite. You see, here's the thing. I myself am willing to get to a point of uniting even with ZANU-PF and uniting even the rest of the Zimbabweans, uniting them together with ZANU-PF and Triple C, because I do understand that the diabolic nature of the warfare that we are having, that the warfare prospers when we are already when we are paralyzed and investing most of our energy in fighting each other, destroying each other, instead of building our own community, our own political and financial system that will work, that will enable that the black Zimbabweans, the 16 or 18 million black Zimbabweans, to enter into the upper middle class society and will be able to compete in global resources. Yes, sir. When they are making cars, they must be considering that millions of cars for Zimbabweans as well. When we're building houses, we must be consider that they're going to be high-rise buildings in Zimbabwe as well. When we are making roads, we must be consider spaghetti roads roads and all that stuff, infrastructure, railway infrastructure for Zimbabweans as well. Whatever high-tech products that are going to be produced, they must consider that we are a market as well, not just a frontier market, but we're going to move into becoming an emerging market and fastly become also one of the developed markets in the world. You see, what they fear is that we will participate in the use of those resources. So now you do understand why affecting a country, making a country a pariah, and making your people poor, broke, uneducated, like how they've attacked the black South Africans. Yeah, the black South Africans take drugs, drink alcohol all the time. It's actually an attack. Black people do not know. They think that they drink alcohol because they love it. They think that it's their own choice, but it's actually by design of the oppressor to relegate them to alcoholics and drug addicts like the Cape Coloreds here. All they do is just shoot each other, and they've got no time for development and thinking about how can they actually grow their own economy, how their own communities. So that is how you are attacked. Even Zimbabweans right now, they think it's a dream to get a passport and get out and go to South Africa or go to the UK and become a nurse and take care of white people, because they do not want you to stay in your own country and nurse your own mother, your own grandmother, because we can afford or buy or employ a nurse for that matter and stay at home and have the joy of being able to be at home at your own place. But they want you to be working 24/7, being a slave to them, because modern day slavery has changed. It's not called slavery, it's called jobs. It's been branded as opportunities, better opportunities overseas. I like to say to you, there's no better opportunity overseas. The best opportunities is to make it work at home. Therefore, ZANU-PF, I implore you that you be with us, work with us in making our things work, to make the nation work at home. Opportunities have to work, opportunities have to be availed, and stuff has to work at home. We do not need to be going outside the country for us to be in a place of opportunity. As I was in Zimbabwe last month, and earlier this month in January, in December 2022 and January 2023, I discovered that this hellhole that I'm living in here in Cape Town, other people at home are living in a much worse conditions, such that they think that coming to South Africa is a dream, when in actual fact is the plan of the global masters. Now, here's the thing. This is what we're gonna do. We shall unite, and when we unite, we shall be able to crush them. Oh boy, I've got a weapon against them. Don't know who I am.